First of all, thank you, Raphael, and certainly thank you, Dr. Fox, for agreeing to come. You know, they didn't really give us a roadmap. Raphael said, can you get the president of the University of Florida to come? And so I did that, but I thought there might be like something more formal, like a moderator. So we're gonna wing this, President Fox, we're gonna wing it. Before I go any further though, I do have at least one of my city commissioners in the audience, Commissioner Shalonda Warren. Thank you, Shalonda, for coming. I don't see any other commissioners. So let's dive right into it because I think that the audience is very interested in this. And so as I thought about what we were going to talk about, I thought, okay, they probably want to know how did we get to this point? And I can speak to that a little bit. And then I'm sure that the bulk of their interest is why West Palm Beach? So how we got here, I got a phone call from County Commissioner David Kerner. I don't think Commissioner Kerner is here today. And he says, I've got this idea. I want to go talk to the University of Florida and see if they will set up a campus in Palm Beach County, particularly West Palm Beach. I said, okay. and so that started the wheels turning, and before I know it, I think within a couple of weeks, he had made contact with President Fox, and lo and behold, we took a road trip up to Gainesville and had dinner at the president's home with a couple of his deans. I think the dean of the business school and the dean of the engineering school, as well as some other members of his staff. And then the next day, we had about a half day of meetings where we had presentations from other groups. Why would I agree to that? Why not? I mean, to me, it seemed like a no-brainer. Did I think it was achievable? Probably not, but you're talking to someone who is the child of a teenage single mother who went to Harvard and Harvard Law School. So I believe in the unattainable. So I went along with Commissioner Kerner, and one of the things we accomplished the night of the dinner, each of us, independent of one another, made a formal invitation to the president for him to consider, the University of Florida to consider setting up a campus in West Palm Beach. Maybe that was implicit. Maybe it was an elephant in the room, but I thought it was important to at least make that formal invitation. And Commissioner Kerner did the same thing. So I thought it was important. Listen, we have educational institutions, particularly Palm Beach Atlantic, in West Palm Beach that have been very good corporate partners. But to have an institution of the caliber of the University of Florida. By the way, you have any members of Gator Nation out there? All right, I thought so. To be not only in our city, but in our downtown. And I have said, I'm very proud of our downtown. I do believe that our urban core is what distinguishes West Palm Beach from other very fine cities in Palm Beach County, but no other city in Palm Beach County has the urban core that we do. And I do believe that's probably one of the reasons why Brightline located one of its first 3 stations in our city, as opposed to Palm Beach Gardens, as opposed to Boca. So I knew we had a gem in our urban core. And if we could magically bring an institution, an educational institution of the caliber of the University of Florida to our urban core, that would be awesome. So I said, let's go for it. And I'm going to stop there, and President Fox, maybe you could talk about why you even thought about us.
Thank you. Can you all hear me? Maybe it's off. Oh, there it is. So first off, what a privilege to be here with you all, and just to hear that previous talk that sets the context of why West Palm Beach for the University of Florida. It was stunning to see what the downtown looked like in those photographs 25 years ago compared to today, and think what it's going to look like in another 25 years, and how this community will be incredibly vibrant, even more vibrant than it is today. The same amount of change, I believe, is going to occur. So the story for us is indeed, as you heard from Mayor James, but there's some background context to that. Just like here in West Palm and in all of Palm Beach County, there's been 25 years of history to get to where you all are today, where magical things are happening and there's this migration and the business world is flourishing. For us, it is indeed about a 25-year history. The University of Florida moving from a university that was satisfied to being, not my apologies to FSU, FAU, and all of that, the best university in the state of Florida. And moving away from that to having aspirations on behalf of our state and every county and city in the state of being one of the best in the nation and competing indeed against the best publics. You think of your best public outside of the state of Florida. We want to be, we are now considered in that same handful of universities, that handful of the top 5 public research. And then our aspirations are beyond that we want, when a student is accepted to Harvard, my apologies, Mayor, Harvard or Yale or Princeton or Stanford or MIT and the University of Florida, they choose us to be the destination. So for 25 years, there was this focus on indeed growing the research stature, growing the educational stature of the university. So we're at where we are today as an institution, but now we're thinking about the next 25 years, just as you all are here in West Palm Beach. You're planning. And if you don't plan, it's not going to happen. So our aspirations are exactly what I described, to help drive the nation's economy, our state's economy, the economy of the cities of this state, and to be one of the destinations of students around the world, and in addition to those that are in this state. How do we do that? We can keep focusing on our programs in Gainesville. We have 2,000 acres of land and 16 colleges and just wonderful opportunities in Gainesville, but that's not going to get us there. It really is not going to get us there. I feel passionately, and it was before the visit by Mayor James and Commissioner Kerner, that we have to have an engagement with some of the rapidly growing, promising, exciting urban areas. Let's choose a urban area in this city, in this state, that's attached to a growing part of our state, and let's have a presence there for some specific programs that we could create there that we couldn't create in Gainesville. Let's attract faculty there that we can't attract in Gainesville. Let's attract students there that we can't attract in Gainesville. Even though we love being in Gainesville, it is not an urban, growing, exciting place where financial services are migrating and other companies are thriving. So that was our vision. So the question is then where in the state of Florida? And then, to be very open with you all, I've been at the University of Florida now, this is my 8th year. We've talked to mayors of other cities across the state. But this is the first time the mayor and county commissioner, who was mayor of the county at the time, came to us and said specifically, we're thinking downtown, we're thinking in this area. The county has some land, the city has some land, some private developers have land, and we think you could do something special. And they described, as you all I'm sure know, Mayor James is very persuasive. We have a vision for this area that will need higher ed to be even more excellent than it is today. And you all are blessed with universities and colleges and state colleges here that are doing really, really well. But the best urban centers in terms of growth and excitement, where the broad community is thriving, have multiple excellent universities cooperating, competing, being partners, and again, building into that community. So it's that vision, and then we indeed took additional steps, which we can talk about in talking to the business community to see if their vision was indeed reality, learning about what has happened here over the past 25 years and what may happen in the next 25 years, and what role we might have that would be additive, not in any way compete with what's here in education, but be additive to the K through 12, additive to the state colleges, additive to private colleges and universities, and those that are part of the state university system. So that all started, you all, just literally a matter of months, beginning of the summer. In parallel, and I'll mention this briefly, Mayor James, before turning it back to you, I received another call. And that call was from the CEO of the Scripps Research Institute in La Jolla. And he said, is there a way that we could talk about a possible significant partnership that might result in a transition of the Scripps Research Institute in Jupiter, in Palm Beach County, to the University of Florida? Quite different from a campus that we're talking about here, which is focused on the financial services piece of the economy and related areas, but focused on biomedical engineering. And the bottom line there is that now Scripps Research Institute in Jupiter is the Scripps Research Institute at the University of Florida. There are 500 employees, there are 50-some faculty, there's $70 million in research a year. They're number 4 in NIH funding, we're number 1. We're now together as the University of Florida and Scripps Research Institute. That adds momentum. I know they're, up I-95, but that adds for us a center of gravity, biomedical, health-related, and then focused at the graduate level on some very special programs that allow us to compete with your best business schools, whether it's at Penn or Harvard or anywhere else on
Careful
the West
now.
Coast. Yep.
Careful now.
And associated areas around engineering. We've heard about resilient communities and infrastructure, things that we're working so hard on in Gainesville. So that is the excitement we have. And I can tell you where you are if you're interested, Mayor, in this process, but just a lot of exciting developments. So for us, this is a special, I believe, once-in-a-century opportunity where the stars are aligned. State, city, county, university leadership, university governance, and an opportunity that it will not be here in 10 years from now for any of us.
Well, so you've heard how this got on the table, and you've heard from the president as to why West Palm Beach. One of the things I was most impressed with in my trip up there, and many of you have heard me speak about my vision for West Palm Beach, building a community of opportunity for all, making sure that all this growth that we're experiencing is inclusive. President Fox, one of the things I was most impressed with is the attention to the EDI, equity, diversity, inclusivity agenda that I heard from the deans of the various schools. It seems that was also top of mind without any discussions between me and them and the university. That also seemed to be top of mind. Can you talk a little bit about what the university's attitude is toward that particular issue, which is of interest, certainly to me and I think to a broader community?
Yeah, I work in the business of education, and I really believe that education is the heart of equity and the heart of actually our nation's focus on helping people from all ethnicities and backgrounds, gender, colors, to really succeed. And our nation has that at its roots, but it, as we all know, has progress to be made. But education, though, I absolutely believe is at the heart of that. Just within the institution, if you just look at the deans of our colleges, we have more diversity in gender, more diversity in ethnicity than any other university I have seen. And that includes, those that are typically sort of not diverse, like engineering, my own discipline. More African American female faculty than any other engineering college in the nation, just as an example. And being a part of an urban environment is part of that strategy for us. Not everyone can move and come live in Gainesville even as a graduate student, and that would be our focus here. So it is that's a part of who we are. That is again, this campus, in our view, will be focused. It's not going to be there will not be undergrads getting undergraduate degrees. We don't want to again compete with the excellent colleges and universities that are in this region with the undergrads, but focused graduate student programs and attracting them not just from Southeast Florida, from Miami on up the East Coast, but around the world to come here and hopefully stay and start companies, and then educating the companies that will be attracted here. There is this virtuous circle of companies being attracted because they want to hire the students, and the students coming because they want to work for those companies.
Okay, so now that we've teased the audience, can we make this happen? Is this going to be a done deal?
Yes. Yeah.
Look, peer into your crystal ball and tell, is this just a pipe dream, or is this a realistic possibility?
I think later today the city is voting on something, okay, and then tomorrow the county's voting on the land that would be necessary for this. But let me tell you how the stars are aligned. We have support of not just Mayor James, but the county and individuals that own parts of the parcels of the land that are there, including one significant landowner. We have the support of the state. We went to we're a state university, so the state could tell us, no, you need to stay in Gainesville. But we went to the state before we had larger discussions. So right after the meeting with the two mayors, we went to the Speaker of the House, we went to the President of the Senate, we went to the Governor, we went to the Chair of the Board of Governors, the incoming Vice Chair of the Board of Governors, who lives in Palm Beach County, Eric Szilagyi, and they said we're totally supportive. And I just looked at the state Senate budget for the legislative session. They're making the sausage as we speak, and they have $100 million in the state Senate budget, and you never know where it'll end up, but for this project, and to get it in the budget at this point, early, more or less early in the process, says a huge amount. And we have huge amount of incredible support from individuals that have the capacity to lead gifts in terms of endowing and funding this. I'll be very specific. We expect that there will be announcements of gifts in the range of $100 million over the next several months for this from individuals, and another $100 million to endow the Scripps Research Institute. And all that was not on the table, wasn't even being thought about 9 months ago. So this is going to get done.
Fantastic. And I understand maybe you might want to share with the audience another major announcement that you made this morning at this very hotel.
Yeah, universities, if they're going to make a difference in a community, in an economy, you also have to work with the business world. And not just work with them, but actually have real important partnerships. So this morning, actually in this hotel, we had an announcement with IBM, a partnership between their artificial intelligence initiatives and their business services around data analytics and AI, and the University of Florida. They're co-creating with us a master's degree in artificial intelligence and business that we'll be offering, and by that I mean they're going to help us develop the courses and actually help teach the courses. It won't be an IBM degree, it'll be a University of Florida degree, but they're invested in that, and they're providing access to our students and faculty and others that are working with us to their AI-focused software that would cost a lot if we had to try buy that. But we wanted them here in West Palm Beach for this announcement rather than in Gainesville, because that's going to be a big focus of the programs. Anything associated with the world of information and knowledge and the broad spectrum of artificial intelligence.
How exciting is that? Yeah, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, but just the prospect of having something of this scope, again, in downtown West Palm Beach, is mind-boggling. It's transformative. It's a true game changer that will affect generations to come. I mean, grandchildren of grandchildren in this city will benefit from this initiative. I am convinced of that. He mentioned something happening at a meeting tonight, and I only have one commissioner here, so I can't really be accused of sunshine violation. But we, the city, have worked out a deal. We've the lawyers have ironed out the details where the city will be granting a significant all of the land that it owns in this particular area for this project. So we're all in. We're all in. And you can clap on that because that too came together relatively quickly. And I know the county is also working on some things. I don't know, President, if you want to talk any about what ideas you may have, what will go on the campus. I mean, I know it's still kind of early in the discussions, but maybe give this group, if you can, a preliminary idea of what you're thinking about.
Sure. And you all, when a university such as the University of Florida, a state university that's been around for more than a century, decides to do something like this, it's a forever commitment. It's not something where we go in and then we sell it or do something. This is forever commitment. And so we're talking centuries. And the only issue is very simply how successful we're going to be. And there's no reason for the university to do this if this is not the best, very best in the world in the programs that it offers. Because we're all about our reputation, our what I call our stature. And so this can't be something we could simply do in Gainesville because we could just do it. This has to, again, be something that is truly the very, very best. Just as when you all think about how you're thinking about the future of your city, you want it to be the model city for the nation, for the world. And you're creating that, and that's what we want here. So we envision on this land, it's roughly 12, 13 acres when you assemble it, would have, the first building would indeed be an academic building. But we envision that we will have the business community, some of the companies that have been attracted here and others, helping not just to co-create the programs and the courses and the degrees, but also even teaching. That's one of the advantages of an urban environment is if we can benefit from those individuals, including CEOs that may be moving to the broader part of the county and all of Southeast. So there'll be an academic building and it has to be world class in adding to the architecture of the city. It has to be an open campus. So in other words, a campus with we're a state university, so anybody can walk on the Gainesville campus and be a part of that campus. And this has to be the same. So inviting area. And I'm not an architecture or city planning, so I'm going to be way out of my league here. But a community where the public is invited, and there are concerts and there are things of that nature. It needs to be a place where there are going to be faculty that are engaging not just in the classroom with businesses and these students, graduate students, are engaging with businesses on the campus and outside of the campus, all up and down Southeast Florida. We believe at the current, and we're still thinking about this and talking to the city and county and others, but we've heard about workforce housing. We cannot negatively impact workforce housing. If you come back in a decade or 2 decades, I expect there are going to be a couple thousand graduate students. These are not undergrads, these are graduate students, many of them with families, and several hundred faculty, several hundred staff of different types be a part of this. And so many of them are going to need to be able to live on the campus. And there may be opportunities even in that area with some of the others, Palm Beach Atlantic and others. We've had wonderful conversations with the president of Palm Beach Atlantic University, Deborah Schwinn, the president of Palm Beach State College, Ava Parker, the president of Florida Atlantic University, John Kelly, excuse me, and the superintendent of the public schools, Mike Burke, about how we could be additive and make an impact beyond just the courses and degrees that we would offer. And that's what we bring, even though, for example, we may not have our College of Education with lots of programs here. We believe, make a difference in the public schools through our teacher education programs that we offer currently in Gainesville.
President Fox, this won't be your first rodeo with putting something together like this. It wasn't part of your bio that was read, but tell us a little bit about your experience with Cornell Tech up in New York. I mean, and your role there. Don't be modest.
Yeah, you all, they're little over 10 years ago, to be very specific, in 2010, the mayor of New York City, another mayor, Mike Bloomberg at the time.
Has a lot more money than I do, though.
He decided that he and his team, just like here, decided that New York City needed another university to be in New York City to help drive the next 50 years of New York City's economy. And as you all know, New York City has lots of finance, lots of media, lots of fashion. We could go down the list. But he believed that what it didn't have is what he called the tech sector. There's a lot of similarities to what we're talking about here. And that he wanted to do, even though there were wonderful universities in New York City, was to create an invitation to other universities to come to New York City. And the city would offer, interestingly enough, 12 acres of land. The city would offer $100 million. We're not asking for that, Mayor.
Thank God.
And the bottom line, you all, is that I led the proposal that came from Cornell, and there were all kinds of universities around the world that submitted proposals throughout a year and worked hard. It came down to two universities, Stanford from the West Coast and Cornell from Ithaca, New York. We were able to raise $350 million of philanthropy as part of our proposal from individuals, and demonstrate to the city that how committed we were to that project, more so than Stanford would be on the West Coast. Even though Stanford's obviously a wonderful university, it has a real similar mission. It's a graduate campus, more purely focused not on financial services but on the tech sector, startup companies in the software and app business, things of that nature. But it exists now. It's on Roosevelt Island, the southern end of it, just in the East River. Just a beautiful campus that the university there is committed to helping to drive the next 50 years of New York City economy, along with all the other pieces of that economy. Something once in a century for Cornell. I would argue it was, maybe I'm biased here, but probably the most significant thing that Mayor Bloomberg did during his administration was to have that campus created, and it has benefits already for New York City, but a lot of similarities, you all.
Well, I told you not to be shy. If I understand it, you led that effort on behalf of Cornell, correct?
Yeah, I was the lead, and there were
Right.
there were others that I was the chief academic officer at Cornell. My background is computer engineering, so I know a little bit, or used to know a little bit about that field. and had two deans and a vice president that worked with me on leading that. And the story is a rich story about how I met in Beijing, China, the president of the Technion University Institute of Technology, the MIT of Israel, and then they became a partner with us in this proposal.
Wow, that deserves a round of applause in terms of the caliber of leadership we have for this. One last question, Mr. President, and then we'll open it up to the audience. It is public knowledge that you have announced your resignation as president. What impact, if any, will that have on this particular project here?
Yeah, I have informed our Board of Trustees that I'd like this year, 2022, to, if possible, to be my last year. I'll stay till they find someone better, which may take a long time.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
But I'll stay at the University of Florida and teach computer engineering. Maybe, hopefully, teach down here on this campus. But it is it'll be 8 years for me as president, which in the university world is a long time. But you all, my number one objective this year, is to get this deal done, get the leaders that'll be living here, leading this, hired, and see this thing launch. Otherwise, the next president will get credit, and I don't want that.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So that wasn't bad for an unmoderated, unscripted panel discussion. We'll open it up. We have time for questions. Raphael, are there any questions from the audience? We need a microphone. There's an extra one here. No questions? Okay, okay. Can we get her a microphone? Oh, you have one there. Okay.
I know other people have questions. You must be shy. I'm excited, very excited to have you coming here. Thank you. In addition to West Palm, I know part of the Scripps deal came with a 70-acre parcel. And I'm curious to know, I've heard rumors about perhaps a teaching hospital that may potentially site on that. Can you share anything about plans for what they're going to be doing up there?
Yeah, there are no plans at this point for us to build or create a hospital. But I will say, you all, that the potential of the University of Florida in the long term, in other words, next president, in the long term is just incredible because of the breadth of the institution we have. We have, depending on the year, either the number 1 or number 2 ranked hospital in the entire state, depending on whether we beat Mayo or whoever else it is, in Gainesville. But we're expanding that. We're doing other things in North Central Florida. We have the ability that we've now brought to Max Planck, to Florida Atlantic, in Jupiter for clinical trials of drug discovery that has taken place that they didn't have before. So absolutely, certainly, the university will be partnering with other hospitals. I think it's unclear whether we should do more than that there or here or something else in the clinical area. Right now, our focus is on the biomedical research and here, and then fulfilling the mission of that 70 acres of land, of making that part of this county the state's, and I would argue eventually the nation's center for biomedical research. That would mean companies that would have to be there, hopefully other research institutes, other universities, in addition to all the ones we've mentioned, part of that ecosystem. The more, to my mind, the more that's happening, and you see this, excuse me, in the San Diego area, La Jolla, all the companies, all the research institutes that are there, there's a momentum. Once you get over sort of a tipping point, things just become magical, and that's what we believe is happening here, and I think that can happen up there in that biomedical space as well.
Any other questions? I see a hand up. Okay, Commissioner Warren, can we get her a mic, please? By the way, I didn't know Gator Nation was so shy. No questions?
They're polite.
Oh, they're polite? Okay.
Good afternoon. I think now is an amazing time to be in West Palm Beach and do anything meaningful. West Palm Beach has been open. It has thrived throughout one of the most challenging times that we've seen in recent history. It's continued to grow. There's a dais that is, I think, amazing and smart and warm and beautiful, forward-thinking, progressive, and they're doing great things, and they're really doing a lot to support.
You said the members of the dais are
Yes,
like
I
that?
did.
Yeah,
I
okay,
did.
y'all
I
should
did.
clap
I
for
said
that
members of
because,
the
yeah. See, she's not shy.
But through all of that, we've seen explosive growth. We are seeing wonderful things that are happening. And I think part of that is because it is such a diverse community. I think the diversity in West Palm Beach is unlike anything that I've seen, and I've traveled all over the world, and I'm sure many of you have as well. So it really makes me happy to see that this community, as diverse as it is I think that's part of the power that moves us forward. Is there a plan to have inclusion or increased diversity as it relates to enrollment of students at the University of Florida campus when we move forward, in the event that it moves forward?
Yeah, I can commit to you that the broad area of what's called diversity and equity inclusion will be very intentional in all of our planning, from the hiring to the admissions of students to student support. Understanding, again, this will be at the grad level, but it is, that's our world. And if we're going to make a difference in the world, not just in one specific sector, but the world, it has to be. That's the future. Fortunately,